CDL Book Club, Jeff Mills right here on the CDL Book Club grounds. We're located at 401 Main Street, Laurel, Maryland. Suite letter A as in Apple. Visit us at the CDL Book Club. That's THECDLBookClub.com. And you can find the CDL books from the CDL Book Club on Amazon. If you just type in Jeffrey Mills and Juanita Mills, you'll see the greatest pre-trip Class A and the greatest pre-trip Class B books, the skills books, and the exam books. Now, let's get started with the Class B vehicle. We're gonna start, this is gonna be a master edition, so we're gonna start inside the vehicle. And we're gonna enter the vehicle with my keys in my pocket and the wheels of chalk. We're gonna enter the vehicle, 3 points of contact. So I'm gonna enter the vehicle using 3 points of contact. One hand on the handrail, 1 foot on the step, 1 foot on the ground. 1, 2, 3. Enter the vehicle. First thing you do when you get inside is put your seatbelt on. My seat and my seat belt properly locks. My belt is not frayed. My mirrors are adjusted for me. The steering wheel has no more than 2 inches of play. I'm put my key in the ignition and I'm gonna use the safe start. I'm looking at my ABS light, and you don't wanna, the examiner don't wanna hear your radio, so turn that off, make sure it's off. The ABS light went out, it properly works. This is using a safe start. So now I'm gonna turn the vehicle on, and I'm gonna build up my air pressure. Now, my city horn properly works. My map light properly works. And I'm gonna start with my left turn signal indicator, right turn signal indicator, and four-way flashers indicators. They all properly work. My high beam indicator properly works. And my gauges. You don't have to mention the trans gauge or the DEF. You don't have to mention those. But the oil gauge is from 5 to 20 when idle, PSI. It properly works. My temperature gauge rises when the vehicle warms up. If you reach 260, you want to place the vehicle out of service. That means it's overheating. The tachometer and speedometer, they properly work. My voltmeter should read between 12 and 14. It properly works. I have enough fuel to perform my test. It should be at least from half to full, and it properly worked, the fuel gauge. And my air pressure gauges, they are at the governor cutout rate. They properly work. Now, my windshield wipers, make them spray, show that they're flush to the windshield. They properly work. And now I turn my heat on, and make sure that you have it on the defrost and the feet. You fill at the top, fill down the bottom. They properly work. Now turn on to the vent, fill the vent. They properly work. So now you can turn it off. Now I'm ready to perform my air brake test. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with the parking brake test, which is AKA the tug test. So I'm going to put my vehicle in drive, and I'm going to tap my accelerator, and the parking brake should hold the vehicle, starting now. So put the vehicle in drive, tap the accelerator, it held, so it properly worked. Put my vehicle back in neutral. Now explain the service brake test. For the service brake test, I would drive 5 miles an hour forward and apply the brake, and my vehicle should not pull to the left or pull to the right, and I should have no unusual feeling. Now I'm going to put 3 fingers up, and these 3 fingers represent that I'm going to 1, turn the truck off, 2, turn the key on so the dash lights up, and 3, push in the parking brake. Now, if you don't have your watch, you just use your phone, but put it on airplane mode so you can begin timing yourself. And so now I'm going to go to my time, and we're going to begin. Now, so 1, turn the truck off. 2, turn the key on so the dash lights up. And 3, push in the parking brake. Now, we're going to let the air settle. Okay, the air is settled. So now I'm going to hold my service brake down for 1 minute, and I should not lose no more than 3 PSI within that minute. And I am going to begin now. I started at 240, and I'm going to hold my service brake down for 1 minute. The gauges is what you're looking at along with the time, because you don't want to go over the time and you don't want to lose more than 3 PSI within that minute. And you keep your foot steady and hold it. And while I'm holding this time, I'm going ahead and mention my emergency equipment. I have 3 reflective triangles, spare fuses, and a fully charged ABC fire extinguisher inside the truck for my emergency equipment as well. So kind of use the time wisely while paying attention to the time and to your gauges. Now, I'm at 241. I did not lose no more than 3 PSI within that minute. Now, I'm going to turn the truck key off. I'm going to take this with me, and if you have let me turn my lights on. All right. If you hear that beeping sound, then you just kind of want to check and pull out the truck is telling you, hey, you need to do something, and I just did something wrong. I just pulled out the parking brake. And so that kind of threw me off. Now, that's an automatic fail right there. So now you cannot push that parking brake in, not unless if the examiner say, well, you didn't hold the brake down, so you're going to let them know what you're going to do. So now from this point, I still have enough air. Come in and let me show you, because we're working on perfection. So I still have enough air to perform my low air leakage test. So we're going to fan the brakes down at 60 PSI, and the low air pressure indicator and buzzer should come on. And then I'm going to continue to fan my brakes down to 40 to 20 PSI, and the parking brake that I pushed in should pop back out. All right, we're going to start now. So we're looking here at 60 PSI. My gauge low air pressure gauges came on, and my brake popped out, so it properly worked. So I showed, now I turn the truck off, and now once you show that your gauges properly work, that's what you have to prove and show. Now we're going to continue we're going outside, and I'm going to start at the front of the vehicle. And you exit 3 points of contact. So one hand on the handrail and 1 foot on the step and out. Now, so I'm going to start at the front of the vehicle here. My ID clearance lights, they're amber in the front, red to the rear, along with the turn signals. And they're not cracked, not broken, and secure. No condensation. And the windshield is not cracked, not broken, and secure. No obstructions, no outdated stickers. The seal around the windshield is not cracked, not broken, and secure. And it's not dry rot or free. The windshield wipers are not cracked, not broken, and secure, and they're flush to the windshield, and the blades are not dry rotted or frayed. The spot mirror and flat mirror, they're not cracked, not broken, and secure. No illegal welds, no loose or missing parts. The headlights are not cracked, not broken, and secure, and clean and clear, no condensation. The suspension is balanced. If it wasn't balanced, I'd place my vehicle out of service. And no leaks or puddles or broken glass or hanging wires underneath the vehicle. If I had that, I would place the vehicle out of service. All tires are properly inflated to the manufacturer specification. I'm going to open up my hood and control it down. And now, my engine compartment on the passenger side. I'm going to start with the radiator and the radiator hose. They're not cracked, not broken, and secure. No leaks. The hose is not dry rotted or frayed. It's properly clamped. And the bottom radiator hose go to the water pump. And it's not cracked, not broken, and secure. No leaks from the water pump. It's belt driven. And on top of the water pump right here is the alternator. The alternator is not cracked, not broken, and secure, and no loose or missing parts. It's also belt driven. The belt, which you see right there, the belt is not cracked, not broken, and secure, and not dry rotted or frayed. Has no more than 3/4 of play. Now, the exhaust connects to the manifold and runs underneath the cab to the rear here. And the exhaust is not cracked, not broken, and secure, and has no leaks, no loose or missing parts. If it had any leaks, it'll show black soot. The fuel tank is not cracked, not broken, and secure, and has no leaks. Has a metal cap with a rubber seal and a metal chain, and it's hand tight. The fuel tank is held up by metal and rubber straps. They're not cracked, not broken, and secure. No illegal welds, no loose or missing parts. The strap is not dry rotted or frayed. Now onto the passenger, onto the driver's side. So I have my engine oil dipstick, the air compressor, and the steering pump, my coolant reservoir, the gearbox, and the power steering fluid reservoir. All these parts are not cracked, not broken, and secure, and they have no leaks. They read between the add and the full mark. The air compressor and the steering pump are both gear driven. Now, system number one is the steering system, the steering shaft, and the steering linkage. They're not cracked, not broken, and secure, and no illegal welds, no loose or missing parts. The steering shaft has no more than 2 inches of play, no debris wrapped around it, and the steering linkage is connected by castle nuts and cotter pins. System number two, the braking system. We have the ABS line, that's this line, and the brake hose. These parts are not cracked, not broken, and secure, not dry rotted or frayed, no leaks. The brake hose go to the brake chamber. It's not cracked, not broken, and secure, no dents, no leaks. The push rod goes into the brake chamber along with the slack adjuster. They're not cracked, not broken, and secure, no illegal welds, no loose or missing parts. They're in a 90-degree angle, and when you pull on it by your hand, you should not be able to pull on this no more than 1 inch with the brakes released. Inside the wheel is your brake drum. It's not cracked, not broken, and secure, no dents. Inside the brake drum are your brake shoe lining. They're not cracked, not broken, and secure, and not worn dangerously thin. Now, system number three is your suspension. So you have the leaf springs, the U-bolts sitting on the axle, held up by the hangers. The hangers have hanger mounts connected to the frame and the shock absorber. And all these parts are not cracked, not broken, and secure. No illegal welds, no loose or missing parts. They're not shifted or missing, and no leaks from the shock absorber. Now, I will inspect my drive axle braking and suspension parts. the same way as I inspected in the front, by naming the braking system parts first. The ABS line, the brake hose, the brake chamber, the push rod slack adjuster, the brake drum, and the brake shoe lining. Suspension parts, the leaf springs, the U-bolts, the axle, the hangers, the hanger mounts, the frame, and the shock absorber. Now, I will inspect all these parts the same way as I inspected in the front. Now we're going to go here to the steering tire. The steering tire is not cracked, not broken, and secure. It's not dry rotted or frayed, and it has no cuts or bulges on the side wall. The tread is evenly worn, and the tread should be no less than 432 in tread depth. And how I would check the tread depth is with a depth gauge, and the how I would check the air pressure is with a rubber mallet or air pressure gauge. Now, the front steering tire cannot be recapped. My rear tires, drive axle tires, can be recapped, but they should be no less than 232 in tread depth. And they cannot be mismatched, nor should they be rubbing in the middle. Now, my steering rim is not cracked, not broken, and secure. No illegal welds, no loose or missing parts. I will inspect the drive axle rim the same way as I inspected the steering rim, with the exception that these rims are bud rims and there should be no debris in the middle. All lug nuts on the steering axle and on the drive axle, they're not cracked, not broken, and secure. None are loose or missing. If they were loose or missing, they would show rust or shininess. My oil hub is not cracked, not broken, and secure. No loose or missing parts, no leaks. I will inspect the drive axle. And you don't have to go to it, just point to it. But it's right here, the drive axle. You inspect it the same way. The drive axle is not cracked, not broken. Well, you'll say, I will inspect it the same way as I did the oil hub, with the definition of no leaks. And then the valve stem. The valve stem on the steering axle and drive axle, they're not cracked, not broken, and secure, and no leaks, and should have a metal cap. Now I'm gonna close up the hood. You can stay right there. What you'll do is you go to the passenger side and strap it down. So once you strap it down on the passenger side, then you come here to the driver's side and strap it down. All right. Now, open and close your door. Door opens and closes properly. The door hinges are not cracked, not broken, and secure. And no illegal welds, no loose or missing parts. The rubber seal around the door is not dry rotted or frayed. It's not cracked, not broken, and secure. All right. Hand rails, the steps, they're not cracked, not broken, and secure. No illegal welds, no loose or missing parts, and they're free of debris. The air tanks are not cracked, not broken, and secure, and they have no leaks, and they're drained daily, free of condensation. This is where you drain it at, right here. Underneath, well, let me start right here with the DOT tape. All on the truck is not cracked, not broken, and secure, and clean and clear. The drive shaft is not cracked, not broken, and secure. No illegal welds, no loose or missing parts, and no debris wrapped around it. You don't have to get under the vehicle. I'm just doing that for you. Now, to the rear, I have the mud flap. The mud flap is not cracked, not broken, and secure, and not dry rotted or frayed, and not dragging. Now to the rear of the truck. So I already mentioned my ID clearance lights, which are top, and the turn signals are red in color. I already mentioned those. So the reverse light is not cracked, not broken, and secure, white in color, no condensation. And my tag is securely mounted to the truck with no outdated stickers. And the lift gate, if you have a lift gate or tailgate, right, You can mention those. They're not cracked, not broken, insecure. No illegal welds, no loose or missing parts. And this concludes my pre-trip for the Class B vehicle. And if you are interested in getting any of the books, again, you can go to Amazon.com and look up the Greatest Pre-Trip Class A and Greatest Pre-Trip Class B, the skills book, and the exam book by Jeff Mills and Juanita Mills. And if you are interested in joining CDL Book Club, feel free to give us a call at 240-581-2452 or visit us on the web at thecdlbookclub.com. And CDL Book Club is where you get CDL minded. We see you soon. Thanks for watching.